It was a full day of witness testimony at the murder trial of Michael Beard in Steuben County Court today. 13 people took the stand today, from the 911 operator to police investigators and a neighbor of the Clayton family home in Caton. WENY's Logan Wilson is following the trial in court and joins us now live with more information on what those witnesses had to say during a marathon day of testimony.
Yeah, Renata,
Logan?
it was a long day of testimony as 13 witnesses took the stand today in Michael Beard's murder trial. First up on the stand this morning was the 911 dispatcher. Now, he testified to the 911 call that he got from Thomas Clayton on September 29th, 2015. Now, the dispatcher testified that that call came in at 12:38, and jurors, as well as everyone else in the courtroom, was able to hear that 911 call, which said, "Help me, help me. My wife is dead." Then dispatch asks questions about CPR and location. The call goes silent for many seconds, and then you can hear, did you see a robber? The 911 dispatcher testified to that last statement being Clayton talking to his kids. Next up on the stand was a neighbor who testified, saying Clayton arrived at his home in the middle of the night with the Clayton kids and said he was robbed. The neighbor's wife took the kids. The neighbor went back to the Clayton residence with Tom Clayton. When he got there, Tom warned him before entering. He then sat down in the dining room and motioned towards the kitchen. That's when the neighbor saw Kelly and immediately felt uncomfortable. A Steuben County Sheriff's deputy who was first on scene testified that Clayton was visibly upset when he arrived on scene. He also testified that he secured the scene because Clayton had told him that there was a robbery there. Then, next up was an EMT that testified that Kelly was dead on scene when they arrived. Next up was a New York State Police investigator that showed jurors 3D scans of the Clayton home so they can have a better understanding of when witnesses talk about things that happened at the crime scene that night. And lastly, before court broke recess for lunch, there was a New York State Police Forensic Unit investigator who testified about the blood swabbing process. Now, coming up on WENY News at 6, I'll tell you about the other 7 witnesses that testified in the afternoon of today's trial. And that'll be more police investigators as well as women from the home that Clayton apparently played poker at the night that Kelly died. So make sure you stay tuned for that at 6 o'clock. But for now, reporting live from the Steuben County Courthouse, Logan Wilson, WENY News.
A full day of witness testimony at the murder trial of Michael Beard in Steuben County Court. WENY's Logan Wilson is following that trial and outlining the death of Kelly Stage Clayton. She joins us live now from the courthouse in Bath. Logan.
Renata, as I told you at 5:30, it was a long day of testimony as jurors heard from 13 witnesses. And in the morning, we told you about how they heard from first responders, the 911 call. But in the afternoon, it was all about blood spatter analysis. Jurors heard from 2 witnesses from the New York State Police Forensic Unit who are investigators who testified to how those blood spatter swabs are taken, as well as what that blood spatter means. Also, this afternoon, jurors heard from state police and Steuben County Sheriff's investigators about how they got led to Michael Beard, as well as another man, saying that they got those leads that led them to Michael Beard from a family member who told them that they were ServPlone employees, the company that Thomas Clayton owns, and that they were recently let go. Also this afternoon, the 9th witness of the day was a woman who hosted a poker game that Clayton attended the night of Kelly's murder. The woman testified, saying Tom Clayton asked to use her phone that night to make a phone call. She said sure. The next morning, police arrived at her house, saying Kelly Clayton was murdered, and asked her and her husband a few questions. After they left, the woman realized that Clayton used her phone that night, and when she checked it, no call was there at the time that he used it. The woman's stepdaughter then looked into the phone records, which showed 2 calls made at 10:53 on September 28, 2015. They handed that record information over to police. And lastly on the stand was another New York State Police investigator who testified to gas cans being in the garage and testified to pictures that were taken that show that. Now, Special District Attorney Whedon Wetmore says there's a dozen more witnesses that are going to be taking the stand in the rest of this trial, but the defense today didn't ask many questions to the 13 that took the stand so far. They didn't ask some of the witnesses any questions, and the one that they did, they'd only ask maybe 1 or 2 questions. Now, tomorrow, first on the stand will be a cell phone technician. And as always, you can follow me for the latest updates from the courtroom on my Twitter. But for now, reporting live from the Steuben County Courthouse, Logan Wilson, WENY News.
Thank you very much, Logan.